And I'm the mother to a 20-year-old son who's a sophomore in college.
All right, can you hear me? Okay. Okay, I wrote a little speech. I wrote it like a rap. Okay. Hello, my name is Marquise Garner, and I live downtown Milwaukee. I have been working with the Garner Lab for about 5 years as a community researcher, where I have helped decide which research questions are important, collect, analyze, and interpret data, and share data in many different ways. I enjoy working with the research team as it gives me a voice and makes me feel like I am part of a community. I think research is important for individuals like me. It's important so doctors, family, friends, and associates understand us better, but also make society acceptable for all. I am interested in research related to sports, meditation, and how it affects the human mind and health and well-being. Outside of the research lab, I enjoy being a Special Olympic athlete. That's how I know Carla. I also serve on the Special Olympic Wisconsin Board of Directors, sharing my perspectives and lived experiences as an autistic young male. I am an advocate in my community, and I have done several different speaking engagements with Special Olympics and Carla's Research Lab. I also attended the Special Olympics Day at the Capitol Hill event, speaking with legislators and representatives from across the state of Wisconsin. I am also a published author. My book, Have You Ever Wished You Were Someone Else Carrying the Weight of Autism, shares more about my personal story as being an autistic young male.
We want to make sure that we acknowledge our funding sources, including PCORI and the others who have supported the work we'll be discussing today. Today, Marquise and I will be talking to you a little bit about how we think about inclusive engagement in our lab and in our community, and more importantly, how it drives our overall research agenda. Next, we will highlight how we want to disseminate our findings, not only in an accessible manner, but also as it aligns with our community priorities. Finally, we will share how this work has led to our recently funded PCORI trial that we just started in September, approximately 6 weeks ago, comparing a group psychoeducational health intervention to Special Olympics health programming on improving access to best practice healthcare for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So why do we think inclusive research is so important? Well, we know that people with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities experience pervasive and very well-documented health disparities. And part of that is because they have decreased access to high-quality healthcare in their communities. We also know that they have been systematically excluded in research. And a recent study by colleagues found that almost 75% of NIH-funded studies directly or indirectly excluded adults with intellectual and/or developmental disabilities.
Okay, so in this video right here, I want to share with you why it matters to include people with disabilities in research.
Being a part of a research team helps me to know who I am and the value I have to add to the team. Being involved in the Garner Lab has helped me learn, grow, build confidence, and be empowered in my abilities. It is important to me to spread the word that we are capable of doing whatever we put our minds to, including in research. I want to show my community I have a voice and I am capable. I can advocate for people like me by sharing my experiences, so archives of my work can better the world around me for years to come.
People with intellectual and developmental disabilities are often left out in research. However, including them makes studies stronger in many ways. Inclusive research helps make results more accurate, useful, and relevant to real life. When people with disabilities are engaged in research, it leads to better understanding of the data and more meaningful results. Their strengths can be a great match for many types of research activities. Training researchers and partners should be tailored to fit the needs of each community. Finally, being part of research gives people with disabilities valuable chances to be involved in ways that support their mental, physical, and emotional well-being.
Our work with PCORI started with 2 engagement awards. First, we had a Eugene Washington Award that was focused on building capacity for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities and their caregiving communities to engage in research as participants, research team members, and consumers. That collaborative work resulted in a health research toolkit that Marquise will talk about in just a minute, as well as practical tools to facilitate research engagement. Our community then suggested that we can build capacity and research readiness, but researchers then need to be ready for inclusive research teams. So next we had a community convening award that supported the Health Research Summit, Bridging the Research Gap. We invited inclusive research teams, people with disabilities, research that focused on disability topics, and importantly, researchers that were focused on health topics that were important to people with disabilities, but not necessarily disability focused. We asked everybody to work together and think about how we can bridge access into university-supported research.
One of my friends and co-researchers, Edward Casper, and I have been helping to deliver the Ready curriculum to other inclusive research teams at places like Arizona University and Morehouse University in Georgia. Ready, or Research Engagement and Advocacy for Diverse Individuals, is a workshop that helps people with disabilities understand why research is important and how to get involved in research as a participant, researcher, and consumer. You can scan the QR code for more information. Ready originally had 4 modules that help participants learn about what is health research, how to create a health story, and how to think like a researcher. Edward and I have delivered the slides, lead chats, and give examples. Ready helps teach other people with disabilities about research and communicate with other people about why research is important to them and how to get involved. Ready also helps people gain confidence with research and advocate for themselves and other people. One of my favorite parts about Ready is being able to chat with people about things that we might have in common with research ideas and breaking the ice so we can have big chat.
An important part of research is dissemination. As part of our Health Research Summit, we began to identify ways that we could open the door to university research for a broader population of people. We of course had to publish a peer-reviewed manuscript with our community members as co-authors. However, they also encouraged us to think about how we could integrate practical tools as appendices that could be used by university and community researchers alike in an open access journal. So the 4 tools listed on the slide are included as appendices in the manuscript, and we converted the information also into another module for Ready as well.
We know how important it is to write research articles, but it is also important to share your research results in ways that are meaningful for the people that are the focus of your research. One of my ideas was to share our research finding from our COVID project using a rap. Here's an example of my work.
Please, I hope we can get into the stratosphere because I'm about to coast right through this like I'm relaxing by the ocean. This is Edward. This is Hannah. I'm Marquise. Edward and I are part of the research team bringing information about what people like us with disabilities did during COVID-19. The data numbers varies as Mom and I, we never let the pandemic falter and keep us standing still. We went to the store, we went to the movies, we went to the grocery store. Mom and I kept everything moving smoothly and on mass appeal. One thing that I see from our data research is that the pandemic allowed us to have empathetic and sympathetic personal time with our loved ones, and sweet, heartfelt moments that when seen with our pictures from Photo Voice, sweet moments added to our values. One Photo Voice participant would take the thoughtful, precious time to ease his mind and unwind and find the time to bake a cake for his sweet, beautiful, dear grandmother. Another Photo Voice participant would take the time to memorialize his dear brother that passed away in a sweet and special personal way. These are just some of the things and ways that we evaluate behavior and statistics of people with disabilities, using photo voice and doing chats or interviews, recording interviews and taking information and deciphering how we can use all our knowledge and wisdom and understanding of the world around us to help us thrive, survive, and strive in the mainstream world built around us as individuals as we try to live in this inclusiveness in our society as individuals with disabilities. Thank you, and God bless you.